So look at this part 2. So I want you to ask yourself something. If they have nothing to hide, why are they blotting us out so we can't see what's going on here? Why have they added blinders on? Because they're doing something illegal. Okay? That's why. These were just added on. The last time I was here was April 15th. Okay, April 15th. Now today is May 6th. They added this mesh in to keep it from view. They've probably seen my videos exposing it. So Garry's right there along with them. It's so disappointing, you guys. It took me a while to figure it out, but he's not who he says he is. But he's got those people over there, the far right, Bible thumpers, over in Kingsburg, Clovis, and where have you not, all stirred up. You know, yeah, Garry's the loudest, so he must be doing something. Not true. Not true. I look for results, Garry. I don't see it. I see your pretzel logic. So you're going to recall the vote you did in September? You expect somebody to recall the vote from 2 weeks ago on Cesar Chavez Road. Why don't you do the same, huh? Huh, big boy? Huh? Huh, Mighty Mouse? Yeah, let's see. Because I'm not going to shut up, and neither are my people. And you are not a champion of Armenian rights. We are the champion of our own rights. We don't need you, Garry. You need us. And you know that because you're trying to run for County Supervisor, which leads me to the next thing. Garry is throwing everybody under the bus. They're all corrupt. They're all this. They're all that. No, they're all corrupt, but him and his little buddies at the city, right? Which we know are very corrupt. And so all of a sudden he's very chummy with Miguel and Luis because they're also running for County Supervisor, right? See the dirty politics these people play? So let's go on about that. County Supervisor. So Garry does this fake little survey saying that he's going to win. Well, I wasn't surveyed and I live in your district. I don't know what he's talking about. My neighbors weren't either. So I think Garry's got delusions of grandeur. Okay? So again, ask yourself, why are they covering this up, people? Why? Why are they covering it up? You ask yourself that. Again, it took me a while to figure it out, getting the paperwork, finding out that Garry was not a nice person. Last week, they snuck in a vote to appropriate $2.7 million of your money through the ARPA fund to help a private developer by the name of Cashin. I'm kind of related to him, so I got to be careful here. And he uses everybody, so he's not stupid. And they get him $2.7 million for his new development out in Fancher Creek in southeast Fresno off Kings Canyon. Okay? Actually, it's just north of there. And they get him $2.7 million when our water bills have gone up quadruple since 2016. See where I'm going with this? And then Jan says, well, I need to look at that. I don't even know if it's legal. You guys kind of snuck it in at the last minute. This is what they do. They do it so people don't come forward and contest it. When we found out about these homes being illegally converted, they did it under a cloak of secrecy, like this cloak that they put on the gate. They don't want us to see what they're doing. Okay, you see? You see? I'm telling you, it's all illegal. They know we're watching. They're in there. They're now putting insulin in and making it right after I busted them for saying these are shills. They're not livable. They will never be approved for housing. If they are, it's illegal. And by then, you're going to have $400,000 in each home because it already costs $200,000 to buy them and move them from another area to put them on a historical plot. And it's not cheap moving a home. It's about $100,000. Then they have to rehook it up, which they never did because there was no water here. We found that out when the fire broke out in June of 2020. So again, what are they hiding, my friends? Why do they have this screen up? Why is this screen here? Ask yourself. So Garry, you're full of crap. Your logic is twisted. You are not a city leader. You're not a Christian. You're a Yahude from upstate New York. You want to come into Armenia? Go ahead. But this is going to be all over Armenia. It already is, actually. If you want to have someone recall the vote for the Cesar Chavez Avenidas, why don't you recall the vote when you did this, when you voted with Miguel, your buddy? And let's talk more about that 2.7 million, okay? I hope it doesn't go through. And also, guess what? Guess what? Besides Garry being very chummy with Cashin, tries to do that because he's running for office, of course. He got $25,000 from Cashin for that new no-kill shelter, okay? Cashin knows how to work these people too, on both sides. He also has done a lot of little business seminars over at River Park, Cashin's other development. It's all over the internet. There's no lies about that. And not only that, the kicker to this is his chief of staff, Miss Nicole Demera, who turned out being a despicable human being, used to work for Cashin as the executive assistant. Oh yeah, the executive assistant. So they're very chummy. They rub each other's nuts, get each other money, public money, and then they fuck the Armenians. And I'll tell you what, we're going to end up with this property back because it was illegally seized. You have to seize it for a specific purpose under eminent domain and use it for that. And if you don't, it's illegal. So we'll see what the public integrity and a judge has to say. And I'm not going to shut up. My grandparents, my great-grandparents are walking right now with me, telling me, keep going forward. And I'm not afraid of these people. And the louder I get, the more will come out. Trust me, it'll all come out. So let's talk about Garry, Mr. Perfect, Mr. Holier Than Thou. I never do anything wrong. It's always somebody else. Smug, indignant, self-righteous. And that's the people that back him. They're the same way. Very, very far right leaning, Bible thumping. I'm pretty conservative too, but I don't go off the charts like they do. They were the ones that were kicked out of Fresno Unified. And also we had to put metal detectors in because of them. And their crazy antics. And in the end, they never get anything done. They just shoot their mouth off and get loud. Okay? I'm going to get results. Okay? Those people don't get results. They're a bunch of ex-alcoholics from Maryland, from Hawaii. They call themselves grassroots. They're not even from here. They're not even grassroots. I worked in Washington, D.C. Yeah, maybe when you were 10, when your dad was a state assemblyman for Hawaii. But you don't have anything to do with Washington, D.C. Absolutely not. Well, look at this. See how they've covered it all up? Look at that. See how they've covered it all up? Well, this is great. What you got to hide? Hey, Mr. Richard, you redheaded bastard, what do you got to hide, huh? These people are just a joke. And the ones of you people that let them get away with this, you're to blame too. It's wrong. So that's about it, but I just kind of wanted to clear some light on Garry and how disappointing he is as a fraud. And his way is to put down the opposition, calling the county supervisors fraudulent. And one of his money people from Kingsburg, a farmer, who's insulted me a couple of times and said, oh, how do you say pig in Armenian, Vanush? Yeah, we'll see about that, Mr. Jackson. Claims that he has all of his fraud and all of his proof of the county. Well, put it out there. Let's see it, because all we see is the fraud of the city of Fresno. In fact, the FBI has been watching him for quite some time. Actually, they never stopped since Operation Red Zone. But he wouldn't be privy to that. And the other money person behind him is a pseudo-Armenian that had changed his name, and evidently from his friend Terrence Patrick, or his neighbor Terrence Patrick. You can figure out who financed Terry, too. He has a real issue with his daddy because I guess daddy cheated on mommy when she was 6. So, yeah, they gossip about each other. So they wanted me to give them money to be part of their Save Our Schools. So Terry could infiltrate that to all the hand-picked candidates who were pretty sorry, in my opinion. The only one that was great, I thought, was Karen Steed, and they screwed her from even winning. She should have won that race. But since she wasn't allowed on the internet, they put Terrence Sladdick's daughter's friend in there, Michelle, who's a very smart girl. But they split the vote, and she got fucked out of the winning. It's kind of sad. They shoot themselves in the foot every time because they don't go for strategic movement. They go for loudness. Okay? I can get loud too. Anybody that knows me knows that. But I also have a strategy behind a lot of things that are going on. Okay? See? Why cover it, people? What you trying to cover, huh? What's going on? Why are you covering it up for, huh? See, because we videotaped you? on April 15th, and today is May 6th, because you know there's a public integrity report filed with the DA's office? What's the deal? Huh? Yeah. So anyway, that's it with our fraud, Mr. Garry Bredefeld. He's not going to shut up. He's going to be the mouse that roared. It's sad, it's very disappointing because we were friends. Like I said, he's my city councilman. And I put those rallies together for Open Now, Open Fresno, so I had to know who did work and who didn't. And there was many people that did. Just he was very loud about it. You know, so don't be fooled by it. And even our city, and even our county supervisors walked with a bunch of businesses, 150 of them, to the county public health, demanding the data to show why an independent business is more dangerous than a large business. Show us the data. They went against their own arm of the county. So don't tell me Garry did it all. Garry didn't do shit. He wasn't even there at the Emanuel hearings. I was. Okay? Helping Dr. Abajian do the herd immunity test. All right? So let's not hear any more bullshit. Garry, quit roaring. You're the mouse that roared. And if you want to be a hypocrite and say, oh, they need to recall the vote, then you recall the vote that you voted with to turn my history into affordable housing illegally. Okay? You fraud, phony. Yahude guy. To my Armenians that are listening in Armenia, this guy thinks he's going to come into Armenia. He's Yahude. Yahude. All right? He wants to be the champion of Armenian rights. Ooh. Like, we don't need you, you need us. Okay, buddy? You need our vote. That's why you're hammering away and trying to take over everything. Pushing those black pastors out of the way. Who do you think you are? You're not even from Fresno. Your grandparents and great-grandparents didn't build jack shit. You piece of crap. You little 5'2" little piece of jark. What a jerk off. Look at this. I guarantee you guys this is going to go up in fire. I've never mispredicted anything yet. And I'm not into conspiratory theories. I like paperwork and backup on everything that I talk about. Okay? It's the Armenian Community Center. So, yeah. So there's probably going to be a new runner in the county supervisor seat. It's going to be Paul Dictos, who's a very strong Democrat, salt of the earth, moderate. There's so many different levels of these politics, from the far left extremists, you know, DSA and progressives, and they hate the other Democrats. They hate them. They treat them really mean, especially the ones that are very religious. And then you got your moderates somewhere in the middle here, trying to figure it all out, and then you have your Republicans, and then you have your far right Bible thumping, and they've got their Gladio armies too. They've got their, 27 groups here in the valley. They're mostly ragtag groups that have no bylaws, and do some things maybe they shouldn't. But lying is not a good virtue, and it's not going to get them anywhere. They keep saying generic terms like fraud, fraud, fraud. Okay, show us the fraud. Don't just give generic labels. Show us. I've got the paperwork. I have all the fraud on these people. Why do you think they're covering the fence up for? I'm not talking out of my ass like Garry is. I've got the paperwork. Look at this workmanship, you guys. I was just here 2 weeks ago. Look how much bigger it's gotten. You know how this is just a fire hazard? Oh, they put 2 more storage units in. Okay. So this building here is about 102 years old. It was the Osperaz printing where the Armenians printed their first newspaper on the West Coast. So it's maybe a little over 110 years old. I'd say it was probably built 1890, and it became the Arabian Nights nightclub. And then Osperaz moved down to North Hollywood, and we kept it as a community center. My grandmother's home was right here next to the appellate court. They seized her home. She was crying her eyes out, you guys. It makes me upset when I even think about it. That's why I'm standing here fighting. I don't want any of your families to go through this. All these people that lived here were Armenian orphans. They were genocide survivors. Her neighbors were wonderful people. So they took it under the premise of putting a freeway in. Look at all the empty lots. Okay? They're liars. You can't do that. Look up Bruce family versus City of Manhattan Beach. Beautiful black family in 1920s, and Manhattan Beach had a resort Very classy resort. I've seen the photos of the weddings. And let me tell you something. They got him out under the premise of, we're going to put a state park and get out. And I think they gave him like a chicken shit $1,000. Last year, the courts ruled that this was illegal. Said, we're going to give you your property back. They said, okay, thanks. You know, we all live in the Midwest now. We kind of got out of here. Then, guess what happened next? They bought it back from them for $21 million. They said, now we're going to put a state park in and we're going to call it the Bruce Family State Park. Isn't that a great story? No one can take your property, people. These were happy people that found refuge in America after watching atrocities of their families being slaughtered, girls being gang raped, faces tattooed. I saw those women as old ladies when I was a little girl. I didn't know why their faces were tattooed. I didn't understand that they had been gang raped and thrown into harems. My father always told me, be quiet. I said, but she's got tattoos. Look at her face. He goes, just, they've been hurt. Just don't do that. And what Garry has done and what Miguel has done is put more salt on the wound. And if any of you far-right, Bible-thumping little jackasses with 12th grade educations think that he's any different than Miguel, you're wrong. They're the same side of the coin. Garry is grandstanding. He's lying, trying to make everybody else look bad because he wants that county supervisor seat. So he throws his friend Steve Brandau under the bus. And here comes the words and the narratives. Corruption, lying, illegal, corrupt, despot, tyrannical. All those labels, but no proof. Isn't that strange, you guys? Anyway, I think I'm going to go see my peeps over here at the Armenian Cultural Center. Say hi to them. And we are very patriotic American people. We built this town, the economy in it. Don't let anybody kid you. We're not going to sit back and let these people do this. Okay? We're not going to let Miguel turn this into Cesar Chavez Avenidas. Illegally, I might add. So, Garry, you recall the vote you took in September to harm our historical resources, and we'll get somebody to recall the Avenidas vote back. Okay, you little hypocrite? Huh? Come on. Let's go toe-to-toe here. I'm not afraid of you. You can call me every name you want. You can use the word radical, whatever you want. No one cares. You can just go back to New York, or you can go back to Texas with your son. No one matters. No one that matters cares. They don't care what you have to say. It's all bullshit. Bye, guys.